Welcome back. This is part 2 of test 2. Let's continue with problem 14. Um, the statement that we're looking at is the if statement, and the condition of the if statement is an expression which is a variable. What's the variable? Grade. What's its data type? Char. And what did we say about char? We said a character is just a little number. And the question now becomes, what's the code for a blank? Is the code or the number that represents a blank, is it a zero or is it non-zero? And there is a character for zero, and the character for zero is really this, the character \0. I believe that's the character for zero. All right? And that's different from a space. So a space is not a zero, which means it's an integer that's not zero, so the letter grade has a value that is represented as true. So the output would be what you get when you output true. But what about true? When you output true, but what's true? True is also a variable that is really an integer. 0 for false, 1 for true. So the answer that you get will be 1. If you don't believe it, just try it. Copy this out, put it in the program here, and let's just end it. We'll end this. When you run it, you get a 1 out. So we're basically kind of proving to yourself what you get when you do this. Next question. What's the value of B? Well, let's take a look. Here is B. And we have an expression that has a numerator. What's the numerator? The numerator is J, which is an integer. I want to turn it into a float. So this expression here is really what? It's really like this. What's float of J? J is 59, so if you turn J into float, it's 59.0 divided by what you get when you divide K by I. So that's 59 divided by, what's the result of K divided by I? K is 6, I is 3, so K divided by I is 2. So now we have a division. We have one thing that's a float, one thing that's an integer. What has to occur? Promotion. So we have 59.0 divided by 2.0. We have two floats, so the result is going to be a float, which is 29.50. It says write the float values with 2 decimal places. Some of y'all put 1 decimal place. It said 2 decimal places. All right. Now, how do we solve this problem here? Well, first of all, set field means instead of using a space to complete a field, use a 0. So we have a field of width 8. I'm going to do it this way so it's really easy to see. Wrong thing. I'm going to do this. Underscore, underscore, underscore. That's 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. That's what the field looks like. And numbers by default are printed in a field right justified. So we have a number that we need to output. And this says output this number with 2 decimal places. What's the number? What is this number? This number is 1.2345 times 10. So the number is 12.345. Okay? That's the number. So we want to print that. How many decimal places? 2. So 12.345 has to be made 12.34. Some compilers will make this round up to 3.5. Some will not round it up. So either answer 12.35 or 12.34 would have been acceptable. But let's see how much space these numbers take up. It's pretty clear, right? These numbers take up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They take up 5 spaces. So to display the number takes 5 spaces. How many spaces must I have? I must have 8 spaces. So I need 3 additional spaces to complete a field of width 8. Where do those come from? What are those fillers? The filler is a 0. This is right justified, so I need 3 zeros and 5 more characters to complete the number. All right, problem 17. All this has to do is to close the input file. How do we close the input file? We close it by operating on the stream. The name of the stream is what? My data. That's the name of the stream. The operation we want to do is just say close. And that's all. All right? All right. Now we have a letter grade. The question is, what's the range of values for which the letter D is assigned? So let's go at it this way. What it looks like is we have under 60 is an F. So if that's the case, a D must include is from 70 to 60. Okay? Once I fall below 60, that's that. So that's a D. That's it, isn't it? So what's a D? 60 to 70. Okay? And we write them the same way we write intervals in math. The low end point, comma, high end point. And what's happening here? It says consider the input. Okay, we have one variable sentence. The first time we're going to read what? This, and stop here. That's the first read. Then we're going to say ignore. What does ignore mean? I'm going to put an I here.